it's Angel, and we're here on Raising Energy on Rogers TV via Zoom. And again, we have an amazing show about the metaphysical and so much more. I always have really, really cool guests. This particular guest is someone who's become very dear to my heart, and we've had a lot of really cool experiences, especially recently. And I wanted everybody to know about her, who she was, and what she has to offer in this amazing realm of energy work, magic, healing. I mean, this is someone who really knows her stuff. Her name is Maggie Costa, and she is the owner of Spiritual Emporium. Hi, Maggie. How are you?
Hi, Angel. I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so happy you're here. This is going to be awesome. So today is your day. Today, I want to talk all about who you are and what you do, because what you do is so dear to my heart and I think dear to your heart and so many more people in this day and age. I think we're becoming so much more open and so much more available to energy that the work that you do is really, really become mainstream. So tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and go for it.
All right. So with Spiritual Emporium, we are a metaphysical tool shop, which means tools that the divine has left for us to help ourselves in life, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, or spiritual. So certain people might come in with, an emotional problem or physical, but at the end of the day, my job is to empower you. I believe you are your own best healer. So I just direct you with certain tools that would help pertaining to your issue, whether it's crystals, candles, incense, books, things like that. My job is to give you knowledge and trust that whatever you resonate is what you need for yourself to help yourself in life.
That's so cool. So tell me, how long have you been on this path doing this, and how long has the store been open?
The store's been open almost a decade, and I've been on this path.
Really? It's been open almost like 10 years now?
Yes.
That's out of town.
Yes. And
whenever I come in there, it's such a fresh newness to it.
Yes. So we are constantly purifying, protecting, and our main job is to help you empower yourself.
Nice.
You don't need us, you need yourself. You just need the knowledge behind these tools. So when I start teaching about these tools, just trust what you're resonating with, but I believe in baby steps. Mm-hmm. Every time you make a change, your life will change around you. So
see, this is what I love about you is like, we were talking just over, what was it, last weekend or the weekend before, and this is the thing that really caught me about what you were saying is it all comes from you. And I've always said we are our own apothecary, right? Yes. We have all this information, but a lot of people who come to people like you and I, they're really looking for a quick fix. They're looking for us to fix their problems. And I think it's our job, and you have that blessed opportunity to do that every day, to teach people that, no, you know what? You don't need to look for it out here. It comes from in here, right? So how did you get on this path?
About 20 years ago, we all go through things in life, and I needed to help myself. And as I started learning about these metaphysical tools, my life started changing for the better. And that's how I empowered myself. And through that, I wanted to offer that to other people. I've experienced people coming into my shop that, has gone through a lot of trauma, things in their life. And I tell people, this is the best part. It's the crawl out of the black hole, finding the light, seeing the light, empowering yourself. I believe we are all healers. And we can also heal ourselves, and we are here to help others heal themselves too.
I agree with that 100%. It's really interesting because as a society, we tend to be afraid of touching the unknown or the intangibles because we're such a tangible society, right? We're a society that needs to physically see, hear, smell, taste. And so people get really afraid of the idea of being able to use the metaphysical in order to enhance ourselves. Like you said, that, your life started to become empowered. So did mine, right? When we stepped on this path. What would you tell people who are metaphysical hesitant?
So I tell people, I said, listen, if we could see energy the way we see dust, dirt, and grime, we would know exactly when to cleanse it and clean it up.
Like taking a shower. We take a shower, so why not? Yeah.
Right. So when we're feeling, dirty, or, the home doesn't feel right, we have these tools in order to energetically cleanse the home, cleanse ourselves, right? So I tell people to trust. What are you feeling in the home? What are you feeling about ourselves? If we knew that energy was, dirty, we would know exactly when to clean it. So trust what you're feeling. And there are signs when, there's destructive patterns, when people are arguing and bickering in the house.
Even when you're not feeling well, like all that for me, it's like when I have so much energy that I've worked with people or whatever's going on, I get weak. Like I feel depleted, right? What would you tell somebody if they came in and they said, this is what I want, this is how I'm feeling, but I'm afraid because what happens if I use the tool the wrong way? What would you say to them?
Right. So my job is to make sure that you use that tool correctly. So for example, they'll come in and they're like, I don't like the feeling of my house. We argue every day, we bicker every day. And I'm like, okay, so here's a few options. There's many options to purifying your home: frankincense and myrrh, sage, cedar, sweetgrass, yerba santa. I will direct them to all these tools, and I say, trust which one you're being led to. Now, I do make sure to let people know that we live in a polarity of positive and negative. And we seek that balance, and that way our chi energy moves forward. So when you are using a tool to purify your home, the last thing you want to do is remove all negative energy. We need negative energy, but the negative energy that stays is the correct negative. There's correct positive and correct negative.
Oh my God, I'm so happy. I think you are the first guest that's ever said that, because in the South American path, we don't believe in positive and negative, right? We have heavy energy and we have light energy. So what we do, or what I do when I purify, is that I ask that all the energies that are not conducive to me be purified. And I think that's where I lend, is the whole idea of intention, right? For me, it's about specific intent. If I'm purifying my home or myself, I'm always like, okay, what is it that I want to do here? I want to feel better. I want more vitality. I want peace in the home. It's not about not arguing, because you're going to argue. You have a husband, you have a wife, deal with it. God's not going to take that. You're going to bicker. But the reality is that, what's a 10 in an argument scale could be a 2, right? You're fighting every day. Maybe all of a sudden you guys have deeper understanding, and that's part of your intention, is deeper understanding. So those arguments become farther and few between, right? So the heavy energy and the light energy is rebalanced. Does that make sense?
Yes. So I tell people, I said, you know what? We don't look at energy as positive and negative, because we need both. So we look at it as correct. It'll serve our greater good, or incorrect. It will not. So as you're purifying yourself and your home, you are to remove incorrect energy.
Yes. Things that are not conducive to us. Yeah.
Yes. So it's more about go away incorrect energy. So the negative that does stay is the correct negative. If something upsets you, but then the next day you wake up and you're like, I'm getting that gym membership, I'm taking that workshop, I'm changing my life. That's the best thing that needed to happen. So I look at it as inspiration versus desperation, right?
I love this. You look at things so differently. Inspiration versus desperation.
Right. So myself in particular, I've moved forward in life a lot of times through desperation, needing to make that change, wanting to make that change. So correct negative is actually great for me. right? I've gotten upset and the next day I've made that change. So as you're purifying yourself in your home, you're saying, go away incorrect energy.
Yeah. That is, I love that. One of the things I really like about you is, my son has taught me so much as he's grown up. But one of the things that I was always about was, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what and I never really sat back and thought about looking at it from different perspectives. And one of the things I noticed sitting with you is like sitting with him. You're just like, okay, you can look at it like that. And that's a very conditioned way of looking at it. But what about that new angle? Right? Like that whole idea of correct, negative, inspiration versus desperation. I've never heard it put that way. And I love that. I think that is so cool. Okay. So I have a fun question. Oh, so tell me, the other thing I wanted to know, what do you offer at the store? Let's go there because I have other questions for you, but I want everybody to know who you are and where is the store?
The store is in Port Credit. It's at 159 Lakeshore Road East in Mississauga. So yeah, we offer services and again, a bunch of metaphysical tools, whether it's candles, incense, there's books there that will help, empower you and give you
every culture as well, like from every culture. So that's important to note because a lot of people who are, say, Buddhist or Catholic may turn around and go, okay, well, that's not the kind of store for me. But that's not true, is it?
I believe we're all under the same umbrella. The divine is the divine. So considering we're all under the same umbrella and, we're all here to help each other and help ourselves, there is no need to sit in, the black hole, as I say it. And there's nothing more empowering than healing yourself, healing others, and coming out of that black hole empowered. And every time you do experience something traumatic, again, that healing phase. When you come out of that, you feel a lot stronger. And one day you're going to be able to help somebody that's gone through that emotional trauma. And you'll be like, guess what? I got a tool. This worked for me. Try this out too.
Yep. And that's exactly how I feel too. Now, but it's not always about the trauma, is it? Because I know people come in to your store and stores like yours who are feeling really good and want to continue that energy or just want a little bit of shift or change. So it's not always about the whole, and I need my viewers to understand that too. It's not, this kind of work isn't always about when you're going through crisis.
Oh, no. There are tools there that are going to help you generate and manifest your intentions, whether it's wealth, prosperity, abundance, love, protection. There's so many tools out there, right? Yeah. So I do help people with, manifestation. And helping to change their vibration and raise their frequencies. There's many tools to raise frequencies, calling a good friend when you're low and saying, hey, let's go for a coffee, a friend that makes you laugh and makes you feel good. There's also, singing, dancing, and going to places that helps you raise that frequency.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I have a question for you. Oh yeah, the other thing that I want, all these things keep coming up for me. Classes. You offer classes at the store, yes? What kind of classes? Right. And you also have some really cool people who work at the store too. Tell me about that.
Okay, so my good friend Alexandra, she is very versed in energy therapies, right? Energy therapies. She is a high priestess, so of course she does help with spells and things like that. So we have had, group spells there and, beginners tarot class. And there's just so many.
She's an astrologer extraordinaire.
Oh, she's an astrologer.
She's been doing that since she was like 10.
Yes. Yeah.
She's amazing.
She is amazing. She's helped me as well, right? We've helped each other and it's great.
And that's the whole point. And I heard you have like this amazing pet psychic too. I heard she's like really, really cool. So all those viewers who are watching in Toronto or the GTA, you guys need to know, or even if you're visiting Canada from wherever you are, because I know even on my Instagram, I have a global clientele who come here and visit and that kind of thing. You guys have to stop at Spiritual Emporium because it is really cool. And she does Maggie offers a whole range of amazing things. And you're also on Instagram as well, are you not?
Correct.
Okay,
It's spiritual underscore. So spiritual underscore emporium underscore.
Perfect.
And, yes. Yeah.
Okay. And you guys can also actually hook up with her through my page, because I have her in my gallery and in my highlights, and that's at Raising Energy. So spiritual underscore emporium underscore.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so good. Or at Raising Energy. So that's really cool that we can catch you there. And you also do online stuff, right? Like the people can order from you.
Definitely. You can order online. You can email. Lots of people have called. I've had people call all over the world and say, I just got a few questions. My job is to help, right? Again, give you options as to what tools you can start using, right away, and how to use them.
Yeah. Now, that was an interesting thing you were talking about earlier with Alexandra, is that, she's a high priestess and she works with ritual. What would you label yourself? Like, I'm a psychic animal communicator. What are you?
I am, raised Roman Catholic. I do practice a lot of other things, but my thing is I need to help people raise their frequencies. And the higher you raise your frequencies, the more you're tapped into the divine. Right.
So you're an energetic.
Yes, definitely. But I want people to empower themselves. We are all here to help each other, and we are all healers.
I agree. And that's so funny, because I just posted that the other day. We're all healers. It's just our choice as to how we use our healing.
Right. And everybody's born with gifts, right? And your gifts are here to help me and everyone else. And my gifts are here to help you and everyone else.
It's true. And it's a really cool time. Like I was saying earlier, it's a cool time to be here, because we're not just dependent on the tangibles anymore. We're looking at the whole concept of there being those, psychic five senses. So the reality is we're able to now heal ourselves on such a deeper level. Like, even, it's so funny. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. If I break my leg, I'm going to go to a doctor. Okay. I'm going to go to the hospital. They're going to mend my leg. But don't think for a second that energetically something isn't now going on in that leg. That's what makes things chronic. We can actually heal that energetic spot that's been broken, the psychological impact of that break, depending on how it was broken. It was so funny. I rolled my ankle about 3 weeks ago. And it's so funny, because I've been working energetically on it, because it causes depression. I can't run. I can't be active. It brings up all of these things about doubt, about, self-worth, all of those different things. I'm not an athlete. I'm not this. I should be this. I shouldn't be that. And using the energetic stuff, that really helps us to work with the physical pain. And you know what I noticed? That the more I work on the energetic, the faster I'm healing physically.
Right. Because everything is energy. Everything is energy and intention, and the power is in the intention. So when people come in and they're like, I just graduated school, I'm looking for a job, what can I do? I'm like, well, okay, let's get into some candle magic. Let's get into some other things. Again, there's ways of using certain tools to manifest and generate those intentions. But again, raising that frequency.
Yeah. And simple too, because a lot of people think that with energy work, you have to sit for 3 hours and meditate every day. And I don't know about you, but I suck at meditation, but you have to sit and meditate every day, and you have to do purifying baths every night and that kind of, but that's not necessarily how it works for every situation.
Right. Again, someone might choose to do a spiritual bath. Someone might choose to do some candle work. Other people, I find the paper and pen very empowering. I let people know, write that intention, light that candle, put energy into that, because everything is energy. And while you put energy into work, into friends, into family, obviously, it will increase. So yeah.
Well, even the simplest invocations, right? Even words are so important, and people have prayer, and that's so wonderful. But for those people who don't necessarily pray, there are other ways of intending your words as well. Definitely. And like you said, paper and pen, but there are affirmations you can do in the morning that are so simple and so powerful. And we're in this amazing time when I think we're really starting to understand that,
Right. And I warn people all the time, be careful what you say. say. I believe words are spells.
Yes.
So what you say is you're putting that out there, and whatever you put out comes back. Now, when it comes to spell work, again, whatever you put out comes back. So be very, very careful what you're putting out.
Threefold law. In South America, I mean, you've probably read the Four Agreements, right?
Yes.
They talk about the whole concept of words being white magic or black magic, right? When you put out good words, you're putting out white magic, and you're enhancing the earth and empowering it. When you're using those words in a negative way against yourself or others, it's the whole idea that it cuts like a knife and a sword, and it's black magic that you're putting out there.
Right.
You know, so the concept of magic is multicultural. It goes beyond, and it's so cool. I was actually I put a really cool post out on celebration, because we're coming into the holidays now. And it's just this simple candle, and you etch those wonderful symbols that you like. You place your hands around it. You intend what you want for any celebration, right? And then you place it on your table and you light the candle. Okay, nice and simple, easy. This way, when the energy goes out, it affects everybody around you. But what's really cool is that I was looking at a book the other day, and do you know that there is a feng shui, a little feng shui ritual that you can do that's almost identical.
Wow.
And I just thought, how cool is that? Okay, I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. What is the coolest situation that has come to your store? Like the coolest thing, like somebody's walked in and it's just like, oh my God, that is just the coolest thing ever.
Well, what I get a lot of is, people that have gone to other people and come in full of fear saying, I believe I'm hexed and I believe I'm cursed and all these things. Again, belief is major. When you believe something and whatever you think is a frequency, that's what you're vibrating at. So when you're on a low vibration of fear, stress, anxiety, guess what you're going to attract? All of that. So we got to get you out of that. So you can use tools like crystals and candles and incense to raise that frequency, right? If we're magnets and we have this frequency, we have to make sure we're out of that low frequency. Now, I have had experience where, I've been disempowered and people have tried to tell me, well, you need to give me this amount of money and I'll do this and blah, blah, blah. Are you kidding me? You can help yourself for pennies. Yeah. Right? So again, now they have the knowledge and the tools. So of course you're going to be paying them a lot of money for that knowledge and those tools. Well, at our store, knowledge is free and these tools cost pennies. Yeah. So my first job is to, hey, listen, get out of fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real.
And it's also that they're being taught correctly by you. See, that's a big thing for me. You can use anything. I don't care what it is, so long as you're taught how to use it, right? You have somebody who is able to guide you through working, because it's not, I know a lot of people who have come into stores, they buy things, they go home, they work with it, and they end up hurting themselves or others because they don't understand. But you have those people come in and go, listen, I sit in fear. This is what's going on. I really want help. And you're there to go, hey, you know what? Here's a candle. This is how you use it. Here's your sage. This is how to use it. And you show them how to use it correctly. And I think that's really important, that we note that you're not just a store owner. You're not just an energetic, but you're a guide and you're a teacher. And the people around you that you choose are just as powerful in that way, right? Because like you said, what you attract, you attract.
Right. And again, it's raising those frequencies. And, when you talk, it should be positive words coming out of your mouth. Yeah. Even when you look into the mirror, don't look at the things you don't like. Start looking at the things you do like. And all of a sudden that starts to shine out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. What is the weirdest request you've ever had in the store?
Oh boy, there's been some weird requests. People have called me and offered me, lots of money to come cleanse their home. And I'm like, no. I can't do this better than you. You are the goddess of this house. No one's going to cleanse this house better than you. Oh, can you do this spell for me? No one's going to pray harder for you than you. Your intention is the strongest thing for yourself. right?
What do you do when somebody, and this just clicked in my head, because you do what you do, of course, we have these stereotypes, right? I want my ex-lover back, or I want my ex-boyfriend back, or I want that girl's boyfriend. What do you do if somebody comes in and asks you for that kind of stuff?
Well, I've gotten the, can you help me with a love spell? And my first question is, do you have somebody in mind? And if they say yes, I say, I'm sorry, I can't help you with that. That is black magic. My store does not condone black magic. And people think black magic is like, you got to brew a spell. No, black magic is when you want to take someone else's free will to say, hey, I want John or I want Mark. You're taking their free will away from them. And again, whatever you put out comes back. So what do you think happens to you afterwards? You will become obsessed over that person. Now, there's nothing wrong with, doing a spell to ask the divine, can you please, allow me to attract a true love, someone who will be my forever. But you allow the divine to choose who that right person is for you. Exactly. You do not put someone else's name on it. Now, I've also learned you don't get unless you ask. So there's nothing wrong with asking. But
and that's so true, because so many people are so afraid of asking.
Right. So, in order to be successful, you need to ask, because you will not get if you don't ask. But again, you need to be specific, right? If you said to me, Maggie, I'm thirsty. Well, guess what? I'm going to go to the kitchen and I'm going to bring back a glass of milk. And you'll be like, ooh, I'm lactose intolerant. Well, you weren't specific. You should have said, Maggie, can I have a glass of orange juice? No pulp, with ice, 8 ounces. Guess what?
Agree.
I'm going to get that exact thing for you.
Agree. And what's really funny is I always say too, I want something to drink. I'd love a glass of water, this or something better. This way, even if I think to myself, I want something temperate, maybe my body needs something cooler, and you come back in with something nice and cool. Like, exactly. Do you know what I mean? So I always say this or whatever the universe deems fit, this and something better. Right. When we come back, I have so many more questions for you. Oh my God, it's going to be so amazing. So tell us again where people can find you. Do you have a website?
Yes, it's spiritualemporium.ca.
Okay, spiritualemporium.ca. If you're on Instagram, it's spiritual_emporium_. And if you want to catch her through my page, it's at Raising Energy. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more specifically about tools of the trade. And there are certain questions I do have, even about books that you have. So let's come back and we will talk about that in about 2 minutes. All right, everybody, we'll see you right back here, Raising Energy, Rogers TV, via Zoom with Maggie Costa of Spiritual Emporium. Hi, everyone, and we're back with Raising Energy on Rogers TV via Zoom. I'm back, and I have a co-host. His name is Yoshi. This is my baby cat. So we're here today with Maggie Costa, and we are here with the owner of Spiritual Emporium. Now, okay, look, I have to say, this just hit me. Stereotypes, right? Stereotypes. Black cat, you come into the store. People are looking at this. Okay, is this a curiosity shop? Is it a new age shop? Is it a witch shop? Is it that kind of stuff? I think it'd be like all of the above. It's a shop that deals with energy and empowerment. But when somebody comes in and they say to you, what kind of shop is this? Like what, they have the stereotypes. Where's your black cat? I've had that. I used to work at the Hedge Witch in Newmarket. And they're like, so where's your black cat? Where's your cauldron? Where is your this? What do you say to people?
I let them know that it is a metaphysical tool shop, right?
What does that mean?
So basically just tools that the divine has left here for us to help ourselves. When you think about crystals literally coming from Mother Earth, right? Yeah. These crystals help balance and raise frequencies. So there are many tools there. Now there are things, occult-based, religious-based, and everything like that. But it is a tool shop, right? So when people, need their plumbing fixed, they'll go to Home Depot and they'll get a tool. Right. So when people need fixing, they'll come in and I'm like, all right, here's the tools that you choose. And I've had people say, well, you choose the crystal. I'm like, no, dear, you need to choose your crystal.
And why do you say that to people?
Because not only do I want to empower you, but I need you to trust yourself.
Your own intuition.
You have to trust your own intuition. We all have intuition, and it's time that we start to trust it and follow that.
So true. And that's my mandate, right? Like the whole idea that we are all psychic. We all have abilities. It's just finding what those abilities are, discovering them, honing them, and strengthening them. And I think that's really cool. What is your favorite tool that's out there? Like, what is your thing?
I'll be honest. I'm a fire sign, so I love my candles. I love my incense. And again, pen to paper. I love writing the intention and being really, really clear about it.
Now, do you think culture plays a part in that? Because you and I are both European. And I know that in the European cultures, Italian, Portuguese, Maltese, all that kind of stuff, we love that we love the candle spells. We love the piece of paper underneath that, the prayer spell, St. Anthony, all that kind of stuff. Do you think that it's a cult? Like, do you find that people come in drawn towards their own culture, even if they don't realize it?
Yes. And that's okay. Again, just trust what you're being drawn to. I'll be honest, I'm raised Roman Catholic, and there's been moments where I've been drawn towards Ganesh. And I've called my Hindu friend. I'm like, girl, who's Ganesh? You got to talk to me about Ganesh. And again, he removes obstacles. And I've asked Ganesh for help. I've asked St. Michael for help, St. Raphael. I've been drawn towards saints like Sant Antonio and, St. Martha. You just have to trust what you're being called to at that moment. It could be a saint, a deity, a god, a goddess.
And it's so funny because over the years, I have had people say to me, no, you have to stay pure. You have to pick one and you got to go with that. My thing has always been that if they're of the light, and they come to you and they say, hey, listen, I want to help. What am I going to do? Turn away Jesus, turn away Thoth, turn away a goddess? It's like, okay, you know what? Even if you don't believe in them as gods or goddesses or energies like that, they're energy. You can look at them as energies that are affecting you and influencing you in a direction that feels good and positive and that's healing. So my thing has always been the same as yours. It's like, you know what? If you're the light and you're a positive influence, I welcome you. Right? Like, right. I totally welcome you.
Yeah, I see that the divine has an army to help, right? You're not going to fight a battle by yourself. There are soldiers. There is an army there that you can call upon, but trust the one that you're being called to and work with that.
Yeah, at that moment. And it can change. It can.
Right. As your life changes, your tools are going to change. The deities and the saints, all these things are going to change as your life changes, but you're being called upon that at that moment because that's what you need at that moment.
I agree with you 100%. So do you sell, because I know there are a couple of stores that I know of that sell relics, right? So I have a friend who actually sold me, I shouldn't say even sold me, she gifted me with this huge antique cauldron that actually has a lid, which is very unusual. Do you sell, and she actually gave me also, what do they call it? A sword of Michael that was an antique. Do you have things like that at the store as well? Or do you have pieces of your own that you've been gifted with or love?
Oh yeah, definitely. I have my own altar set up at the store. And when you look at the altar, you're like, wow, I've got Kuan Yin and Buddha and the Fatima and all these different things there. But again, Yamaya, Oshun, I've been drawn towards these deities and I've asked them for help and I feel like they've helped me, but I'm also the girl that goes to church every weekend because I enjoy that as well, right?
Now that's really important, right? Because I know people of every faith who, whether it's quietly because they don't feel that it's something that others will accept, or openly like you and I, who go, you know what, I still have a religious basis and anchor, but you know what, to me, I feel like this has very less to do with spirituality and religion than it does our own natural being. It's just a part of who we are.
Right. I've been to a temple and, sat there and prayed my rosary quietly. I loved the energy of the temple. For me, it was a holy place. And, I'm sitting there praying my rosary, just soaking up the energy there. So don't worry about, being at a Buddhist temple when you're Roman Catholic. It's the energy of the space.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. So a lot of people will ask me, what path I'm on. And I always tell them, well, I'm an energetic, I'm a psychic, I'm an animal communicator, that kind of thing. But recently I have had the African culture come to me over the last year and the Norse culture come to me over the last year. If they, let's say, come to you and say, listen, you know what? The Norse culture has come to me. I want a set of runes, but they have to be really specific and this kind of thing or that kind of thing. Do you source stuff for people?
I do. I let people know, hey, if you don't see something you're looking for, let me know and I'll try to seek it out as long as it's within the white light. I will not sell anything on a low vibration or anything for dark or black magic. That's also though in the hand of the practitioner to a great degree, right?
There's an Italian saying that goes, the hand that heals can also harm. The hand that harms can also heal, right? So when it's in my hands, it is what it is. Now, that's for the most part. There's always the exception to that, but for the most part, when you walk into a place, anything can be that. Like I've gone to thrift stores, right? And I found a beautiful plate that was in the color of, funny enough, Yamaya. And I thought, oh, this is absolutely perfect. This is really wonderful. And I use it for what I want to use it for. But for anybody out there, if you're looking for something that is specific, then Maggie's store and stores like Maggie's are definitely the place you want to go. But it has to resonate with you too. It's not just, okay, you know what, there's a metaphysical store, I'm going to go to it. I've been to different metaphysical stores and I'll walk into some of them. I'm just like, no, not my thing. This place, not my thing. And it has nothing to do with dark or light. It's just, it doesn't resonate with me for some reason. So I'm not particular to stores that are really big on the new agey, right? Like you walk in and they're just like, I'm a bliss and I'm blissed out. And I actually walked into a store once in Florida. I kid you not. She had this cute little hat on with big flower and she had little flowers on her cheek. And she was like a hippie and she's talking and you could tell that this chick is straight out of the 60s and she's all about, she's still burning bras. And I'm like, okay, that's really cool. Not quite 100% me. Some meat, but not 100% me. So when you walk into a store, I feel you have to give it a bit of time, right? You got to walk in, you got to feel it out. Is this somewhere that really works for me and allow the energy to influence you? Yes. Because I know what your store is one of my favorites in the Hedwig too, but I know a lot of people have walked in the Hedwig going, it doesn't resonate with me. So if someone comes into your store, that long-winded speech, if somebody comes into your store and it doesn't resonate with them, what would you say to them? Like if you have a customer who's really crabby and it's like, they don't necessarily are appreciating what you have to offer, what would you say to them?
I'm okay with that. If my store is not for you, there are plenty stores out there and there's a place for everyone. Yeah. Right. But again, I've had people come in all fearful and, oh my God, my neighbor's a witch. And I'm like, well, lucky you. No, that's not what I mean. And I tell people, I'm like, listen, the word witch means wise one and witchcraft is craft of the wise. And if you're not wise enough to use it, then don't dabble with it. Yeah. There's one rule in witchcraft. Do what you will, but harm none. Yes. Use it to help yourself, right? Use it to help others, but don't harm anyone with it. Some people are like, somebody voodooed me. I'm like, ooh, they religioned you? No. I'm like, listen, voodoo, Santeria, Roman Catholic, these are religions. These are religions. Are you trying to say you feel like someone's done black magic? And they're like, well, yeah. I go, well, that's a different story. Voodoo is a beautiful religion. So is hoodoo. So is Santeria. So is Roman Catholic. Religion is spiritual law. Spirituality is your own. That's what you make for yourself.
And that's it, right? Like the thing is you have the power to work, but how you work with it is up to you. You know, are you going to work with it in a spiritual way? Are you going to work with it through your religion? Priests, when they're standing on the altar, you know, they're making magic, right? A Catholic priest is making magic as you watch him, right? By calling down the body of Christ and doing all that kind of stuff. So for me, this kind of work isn't spiritual, but you can use it spiritual. You can use it through your religion. But the other thing that you really hit on for me is the whole idea that, you know, everybody and their brother can also be a witch. Everybody's a Reiki master now. Everybody is a shaman. Everybody is a witch. Everybody feels they need these labels to be empowered. So let's talk about that for 1 second. The whole concept of somebody comes in and says, my neighbor is a witch. My first question is, how do you know? How do you know that? Did they say they were? How do you know that? Because let's remember, the witch trials of Salem started that way, right? My neighbor cursed my goats, kind of thing. My neighbor is a witch because, you know, my goats are doing well, and now they're dry of milk. And it's like, well, how do you know it's your neighbor? Do you ever ask those questions of people, and how do they answer?
Listen, I tell people, just do you. Just do you. Don't worry about your neighbor. I've had people come in and saying, I've got a coworker and I'm not a fan of hers. And how do I get rid of her? Easily. Do you want to know? Wish for her to have a better job somewhere else.
Yes. Oh my God. So I had a neighbor once when my son was really little, and she was always really mean. She had issues. And I remember sitting back going, I really need to get rid of her. And her husband one day complained about how little money they had. And I thought, I know what I'm going to do. And I remember going to the fire and asking the fire, I wrote it down. I want her to have more hours, you know, at work. I would like her to have hours that are opposite schedule to mine, kind of thing. And she was a night person. So she started getting all of these, whatever the opposite was. So if I was working during the day, she was working at night. Yeah, that kind of thing. So it was perfect. Within a few weeks, we never saw her. Even he was happy. Like, she's never home anymore.
Right. I have people that are like, oh, my neighbors, how do I get rid of my neighbors? You wish for them to find their dream home in another neighborhood, because whatever you wish for people and whatever you say will come back to you.
Yeah.
You don't want to do bad things. You wish your enemies or your haters better. You wish them better. And karmatically, because there's always a karmatic comeback when you wish things upon people, it's nothing but good. Yeah. Right? You pray for your enemies. You wish them well, because that all comes back to you.
And it's so funny because that's not a for fluff bunny thing either. We were watching this great movie last night. I'm trying to remember what it was called. It was with George Clooney, and he plays the governor who's going to be president of the United States. And it ends very badly, actually. But this particular thing was really cool. And he says, do you want to know how you get rid of a terrorist? Do you want to know how to get rid of them? And the audience is like, yeah, I do. You know what? Stop buying their product. Stop buying oil. You stop buying the product and they go away. And he was talking about hybrid vehicles. And I know a lot of viewers out there probably won't agree with the whole hybrid thing and that kind of, but the reality is the concept. The concept is, and he said it, he said, then we don't have to fight wars. Then we don't have to do these things. The whole idea is get rid of the product, get rid of that thing that we think we need. We think we need to get rid of them. We think that they're doing us bad. Guess what? They're doing us a favor, that person who's sitting in that next cubicle, because they're teaching us how strong we are. They're teaching us how compassionate we can be. And that's Kuan Yin thinking, right? Kuan Yin is giving love where there is seemingly none to give.
Yes. And guess what? When you love your enemies or your haters or the people that do wrong to you, and you pray for them to find the divine and to do better, your life gets better. And it's like a shield. It's like a shield of love around you, and they can't get you with their, evil or whatever you want to call it. You wish well upon everybody. Do you, and continue to live your life helping yourself and others that you love.
Oh, I agree with you. I remember when I was little, one of my aunt, we had this neighbor across the street. It's not a very nice one. She's grumpy. She was really grumpy. And so I remember seeing my aunt one day. She went to the garden and she picked the most beautiful flowers. My uncle had been growing these flowers. And I asked her, I said, what are you doing? And she goes, I'm going to give it to this woman across the street. And I said, why are you doing that? And she goes, because she needs love. She needs somebody to do something loving. She's alone. And I remember I watched her put it in the pot and everything. And then she sat down, she prayed over the flower. I'll never forget that. And she went over and she just put it on her porch and that was it. She didn't even knock on the door. This woman didn't even know who it came from probably, right? But it was that whole idea of the intent.
Yes. Yes. Now, the best we can do, to protect ourselves or help ourselves from people that don't wish us well is, again, you can use crystals, prayer to protect and purify. We are never to retaliate. We are never to wish harm back on them. Not our job. Because if we wish harm on them, guess what? We've just poked a hole in our aura, which means their bad energy can penetrate us. But you can't penetrate us if we are protected and purified, as well as wishing them well. How are they able to hurt us if we're wishing you well?
And that's also part of protections, right? The reality is, and that's a big thing to talk about too, because people are always asking, how do I protect myself from the dark stuff? How do I protect myself? Like, okay, you can wear an evil eye, right? Monokyo. You can do all that kind of stuff. But I feel like the best protection that we can have ourselves, even as energy worker, is to purify, cleanse, clear, stay in the light. And again, it may sound frou-frou, but the reality is that when we stay in and that doesn't mean don't acknowledge your days, right? Your bad days. Don't acknowledge your bad days. It doesn't mean don't acknowledge, what you're going through in life. Again, it's that heavy and light energy, but it does mean that when we're protecting ourselves, that intent of purity is at least there.
Right. So, some people will come in and be like, can you help me manifest wealth and prosperity? Sure. How do you want to do this? Do you want to use crystals, candles, incense? And then they get the speech. I give them a speech. Guess what? You need to have gratitude. Keep a gratitude diary. Thank the divine, even for your worst days. Because guess what? If you woke up pain-free, there's so many things to be grateful for. The sun came out today. I woke up with no pain today. My mom called me today and I had a great conversation. Gratitude is number one, right? So even at my store, when people are like, thank you, I'm like, no, thank you. I'm thankful for everything.
Yeah.
Right.
And that in of itself is protection too. People don't know that, eh? They don't understand that every time you say thank you, it's like you're putting this little bit of a vibrational shield and adding to it. Like they don't, and they're starting to come to the realization that thank you is actually a word of power, right? Gratitude is are words of power and thoughts of power. It's like my son, he was texting me yesterday, and of course he's a teenager. They don't text very often when they're out and doing their own thing. And just the idea that he did, right, was just like, I could feel my vibe grow. I could feel it in the house and I could feel the house become stronger.
Yes. Be thankful for everything, but some people are like, I've helped. So like I've helped this person and, there's no exchange of energy back. Listen, you might help this person, but all of a sudden something will come from this end.
Yes.
Don't think it always comes back from the same thing. Put it here and it'll come back over here. Don't do anything with expectation to get something back. Give wholeheartedly from your heart. Wish well upon everybody, but keep doing you. Focus on you. It's like Lord of the Rings, that eye is on you. Again, that's okay if the eye is on you. Everybody's got that eye on you. Don't worry. If you've got haters, if people are jealous, that's a good sign. People want to see you. They want what you have. Be thankful for that. Be thankful for your haters. Again, positive and negative. Some people will love you. Some people will not.
And there's always a learning in it, right? Yeah. These people are in your life, not sometimes because you're drawing to them because you're on that vibe. Sometimes they're there to teach you how to get to the next level, right? Like one of the things I've really learned a long time ago is that no matter who's in my life, there is a benefit to them. I don't care what they say or what they do or what have you. there is always some, even the most hardened of criminal has something to teach you. Right. And as horrific as that might sound, there's always a learning, and we all have contracts with each other.
Yes. Yes. I tell people, I said, listen, they'll come in, I'm brokenhearted, this happened and blah, 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 but I've never been in a store like this and I don't know where to begin. I'm like, listen, this was a catalyst for you to start. This needed to happen for you to come in and for you to start to help yourself. Don't feel so bad that something bad or, incorrect happened to you. It's okay. It's all a catalyst for something better. You lose a job, they say when God closes a door, they open
another one.
Right. So sometimes things that don't feel good to us are just catalysts to get us to somewhere better. Right.
I think what this all comes down to for me, and it's a real eye opener, because again, it's so freaking simple. It's the whole concept that life is not linear. Life is just not linear. It's that whole idea, you do something good for somebody and something comes back over here, right? It's that whole idea that no matter what you do, it's a catalyst for something you can't see because you thought you were going one direction and you're pulled in another, and it's so funny because I feel like that's something that's actually happening in my life too. I'm watching somebody who's really dear to me who thought he was on one path and lovingly being shifted and growing onto another one. And always remember too, and that's, I'm saying this to my viewers, and I think you'll agree, it's not always easy and comfortable.
Oh no.
Let's talk about that for a second. What do you say to somebody who comes in and goes, I'm going through all this stuff and I've used your stuff, but I'm still uncomfortable and what do you say have you ever had anybody come back and go, you know what, I think it's working, but I don't know because I'm really uncomfortable. Should this be happening?
Right. So every shift that happens, I believe, is meant to happen. We are meant to cross paths with certain people. Right? People are soulmates. They're here to teach us lessons, and some of those lessons don't feel well, but again, you can use a tool, you can feel a little bit of a difference, but it might not be enough. And that's why I say baby steps. Start with this and then start working into other things, but nothing's going to happen overnight. It doesn't work like that. You need to learn your lessons and you need to feel certain things in order to become better. Sometimes we need to fall on our face. Sometimes, when someone backstabs us, learning lesson, you know what? That's all good. I forgive you. I'll let go.
But then that also comes back to the beginning when we were talking about that whole concept of when we purify, when we do protections, when we do this kind of stuff, yeah, you might fall on your face, but it's not a 10. You didn't break any bones. You just bruised your nose kind of thing. Right.
And how empowering is it to get up again, dust yourself off and be like, I can do this. I can do this. Because
we're stronger for it, rather than not doing anything, crying about it, hitting the floor harder. Now we have all of these tools that allows us to learn how to, it's like when I used to be in stunt class, you can either fall really hard or you can learn how to fall properly and not hurt yourself.
Exactly. But understand that every fall isn't going to hurt as bad as the first time it happens. The first time it happens, it's shocking, right? Yes. And it really hits the system. And I tell people, I said, listen, you want to give yourself permission to stay down a day? Stay down, eat your ice cream, drink your wine. I don't care. But the next day, get up, get back up, love yourself so much that you deserve better. Right. But then people ask me, well, what's self-love? How do I love myself? Easy. Think about the person you love the most in this life, in this world, who you would, do anything for. I want you to treat yourself the way you would treat that person. That's how you love yourself. Do for you what you would do for your best friend, the person you would do anything for. Self-love is important. When you love yourself enough, what people do to you will affect you, but it won't be so bad. You'll be thankful. You'll be like, thanks for the lesson. And then you move on. I love myself so much. I'm not going to stay down, right? We can get a broken heart, but guess what? We're going to heal that heart. And every time our heart gets broken, it will not be as bad as the first time it happened. The shock won't be there. You'll be like, ooh, this feels familiar. You know what? I know what tool to get me out of this again, right? Yeah. And that makes so much sense. I absolutely love how you put that whole thing, because it does. I mean, I think power
really comes from within, and therefore self-love and self-worth, as the stronger it is, the stronger our power, right? And self-knowledge, right? The whole idea of knowing oneself is really important on this path as well. Knowing what our likes are, our dislikes are, our values, our boundaries are really important. And this is not just for women. This is for men as well, right? Like, do you have a lot of guys who come into the store?
I'm getting a lot more men actually that are starting the path, which is amazing. But, you know, they feel a little weird, like, you know, I don't.
We're asking them to be emotional. We're asking them to step into their spiritual selves, which is not something that they have been encouraged to do. It's this new generations that are coming up, a new evolution. So you know, it's hard being a guy right now. I think, you know, they're being asked to shift conditioning.
Right. You know, even myself, you know, when I experienced emotional trauma in my younger years, I'm like, I'm not going to cry. I'm going to take it like a man. I'm going to take it like a man. But I was impeding my own self-healing. Yes. Tears are healing. Cry. Yes. Cry like a baby. Who cares? Let it out.
And we're seeing more and more beautiful, beautiful men like that too. Thank you so much for being here today. I truly, truly appreciate your presence every time I'm in it. Tell people again where they can find you, what your store's name is. Give us a little bit about that. We have about 1 minute.
Okay, so we're at 159 Lakeshore Road East in Mississauga. Feel free to drop in, follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Again, Angel, thank you so much for having me. I am one of your biggest fans. I love you dearly.
Well, I'm one of your biggest fans too, and I love you dearly. You can find me at raisingenergy.com. You can also find both Maggie and I at Raising Energy. And again, it's spiritual_emporium _ and at Raising Energy. Thank you, everybody, for coming today. Please join us again on Raising Energy at Rogers TV via Zoom.